G'day guys, this is Nick at Stridewise.com. I am with the lovely, fantastic boot influencer and footwear entrepreneur, deal maker, wheeler and dealer, Ticho Blanco of Ticho Blanco Shoes. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I'm doing well. Good day to you as well.
A very good day to you. Do you want to see the Indonesian boot?
Of course, man. I love Indonesian boots.
Indonesia is a very exciting hotbed of boot activity worldwide. And this is a new brand. This is legit, like, I haven't even taken it out of the shipping container yet. And this is like a fairly new brand. So names that you often, I don't even know where to go. Names that you often hear when you're talking about Indonesian boots are like Sagara, Benzene, Santalum, Dunkit, Texture. This one it's a little bit less well known and it's called Jakkrabbits. And I was excited to try them out. I'm not a big fan of the name.
I like how they spell it with
Jakkrabbits
two
with
Ks.
two Ks,
I like
yeah.
the two Ks in there.
But what these guys have stood out for, they've got a good website for one, which is rare for Indonesian brands because typically you have to buy them online. And for those, on Instagram, sorry, or on WhatsApp. And for those that don't know, long story short, Indonesia, it's a really, again, it's a hotbed of boot making and shoe making. They used to be a Dutch colony. Apparently there's a lot of like generational skill there from like making European style welted footwear. And today, a lot of people, when they want really high quality footwear, they go to Indonesia. A lot of people used to say, I'll get my footwear from Indonesia if I want to get like, a $400 boot for like $200. But nowadays, a lot of people are just going to Indonesia and paying $600 for an Indonesian boot just because like some of the craftsmanship is that high. The prices aren't quite as low as they used to be in Indonesia, I have noticed. Let's open up Jakkrabbits because this is like it's going to remind you of another very famous type of boot.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Oh my God, I got Kilties. I got a certificate of authenticity. Outstanding, comrade. I admire the way you've invested yourself.
Can I see that?
Yeah. I have 3 pairs of laces. I have 2 insoles. All right, and here are the boots. Let's go.
I love everything about this. This is amazing. This is like I would hang this up, right? Like this is like, hang it up in the okay. I think you still got a box cutter. This is like. Sometimes I feel
I'm gonna ruin these boots opening them.
Sometimes I feel like I receive these things particularly from Indonesia, where I think it's a little harder for them to get some of the packing materials, and it legit shows up, and I'm like, is this just gonna be full of cocaine?
All right, here it is. I'm doing the reveal. Ooh. Ooh.
I don't think I got this. One of my favorite ones I got, I can't remember which company sent it to me, but it was like they reused a box that had been full of shrimp or prawns, as I guess you would say.
You do say prawns.
Do you say prawns?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one, and I was like, oh, you got the big old Gloxy on here.
That's it. That's a Gloxy. All right, so this is the Jakkrabbits Moc Toe, the JR Moc Toe. Now, this may remind you of the Red Wing Moc Toe boot, the 875. And when I reached out to them, actually originally I was like, I wanted a pair of black Alden Indies, and I was like, can you make me an imitation pair of Indies? And they said like, no, that would be unethical. But they didn't have a big issue with making these. I guess this is more of a generic style of boot anyway. But this is like, my idea with this boot, and I'm gonna wear them for a few months and then do a video on them, is like the luxury Red Wing alternative, like a fancy alternative Red Wing if you want like something like very elevated version of like the famous Red Wing 875 boot, right? So a few reasons why this is a different elevated version of the Red Wing boot. What do we got? It's got a vegetable tan bend leather insole and midsole, whereas Red Wing has a rubber midsole. It's got a steel shank. It has this Gloxy Vibram outsole, which I think is like really cool and like extra grippy and just a bit more flexible, and I think it looks really funky.
I'm vocally anti-wedge sole guy, but the one wedge sole that I do at least find it comfortable is this Gloxy. These are pretty good.
Yeah,
and it's gonna last.
cool.
It'll last forever, basically. They're like, it looks like it would wear away quickly because it's got all these cuts in it. It actually flexes better and ends up not wearing away as fast. So, good choice.
That's great. Yeah, it's my first time. It was what really caught my eye as well. So there's a two-letter. This is also hand welted, which is a very, very laborious, very highly skilled, very time-consuming way of attaching the upper to the outsole. You know, like it's most boots you get, including the Red Wing, Goodyear welted, the most quality boots anyway. Hand welting is done not by machine, but by hand. It takes forever. A lot of people think that it's more comfortable. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because you're just walking on a full leather insole. It has to be thicker, right? So when they're doing it by hand, they need it usually at least like 4 millimeters. Like you're looking really more for 5 or a little bit higher than that. Whereas a Goodyear welt, you can do it like pretty thin, like 2-3 millimeter, because you're just attaching a canvas rib to it. Whereas with hand welting, they're literally stitching right through that same piece of leather. So it's one piece, doesn't, fewer things to degrade. I know a lot of people are like, oh, my gemming is gonna degrade or whatever. It's not really that big of a concern, but I find hand welted stuff breaks in better. You end up with a more comfortable boot. And it is, it's just way more handwork, which, it matters.
That's really good. What's the word? That's a really good perspective. When I made a pair of boots about a year ago in Guatemala, and they wouldn't let me use the Goodyear welting machine because I risked destroying the entire boot. So we punched holes in it, and then they made me like kind of hand welted the other day. What I did was not as laborious or skillful as like a boot like this, but it did take me like the whole afternoon, whereas it took the other people, less than a minute to do a Goodyear welting machine. So that's just talking about labor, of course. There's also these actual functional benefits. Then there's also the upper here. So I was a little bit upset because on their website they had this as a vachetta leather, which is like it's like super primo, very fatty Italian vegetable tanned calf skin. But they ran out of vachetta leather. But this is Badalassi vegetable tan leather, which Badalassi Carlo in Italy, many consider I'm not saying it is, many consider the best tannery in the world for cowhide, for vegetable tan. A lot. I'm not saying you need to say that as the fact, but a lot of people, Jake almost vintage style is one of them. It's like Badalassi vegetable.
Yeah, we'll give it the qualification. People are saying that.
Yeah.
People say that. I don't have any evidence to disprove that or prove that.
Okay,
I think they make great leather. It ends up aging really well. It's veg tan, so it sometimes a little bit more break in on it, but you're gonna see the results 5 years from now when these things look really nice.
Exactly. If they do have the vachetta one available, I found these pictures on Reddit of a guy after like a few months of wearing his vachetta boots. They look like this. These are mine. I try not to be vegetable tan leather or nothing anymore. Like my opinion has softened on chrome tan leather because like it is. Well, I mean, it's a softer leather. It's more flexible. You can dye it more colors. It breaks in more easily. It's a bit better. It resists water a little bit better as well. There's plenty of reasons to prefer chrome tan if you want. That said, people tend to prefer vegetable tan leather in the when they're like kind of boot purists who like are really into this sort of stuff, because this is the way leather was made thousands of years ago, and it ages very, very well, and it's like a little bit tougher and so on. So I am excited to wear these for a long time. These boots cost $419. That includes shipping. So it's basically $100 more than a Red Wing Moc Toe.
Yeah.
It's 120. But basically for just $100 more, you're getting all these extra stuff. You get this like fancier sole. You're getting the veg tan leather. It's hand welted, which again is like ludicrous and very, very important. The veg tan leather, like the midsole, all that kind of stuff. So very, very cool. This company has a lot of premium leathers. They have like a Shinki Moc Toe as well, like Shinki Hikaku. Many people consider that the best. Many people are saying that's the best tannery for horse leather. And the turnaround time as well. The Shinki boots are under $500 as well, which is wild. And the turnaround for an order is like 4 to 6 weeks, which is that's pretty good because these days Indonesian boot makers are getting so popular. A lot of people waiting months for the Indonesian boots. These guys will do it for you in at the moment in under 2 months. So that's big deal as well. Jakkrabbits. That's it. Jakkrabbits. It's not a great name.
I like the name. I think it's a good name.
Even with the 2Ks?
I actually like the 2Ks. It's, I don't know.
Ticho
I mean, Australia, you guys have a whole thing with rabbits, right? Where they're like overrunning your country, and like, so that is that you're a little biased maybe against
They're
jackrabbits? Is
They're
that what
just
you're?
like very successful immigrants. They came over, they had no natural predators, and they're taking over. It's a model that I'm trying to replicate in America. Just come over here, just take it over. All right, jackrabbits, Indonesian birds, very, very cool, and I'm gonna wear these all winter long. Yeah, subscribe because Ticho and I are doing even more videos today in different shirts. So it looks like we've done.
I brought 4 shirts.
Yeah.
And you came to New Jersey, which is the greatest place on earth. So, you know.
So we're gonna keep this going. Yeah, subscribe and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.